Hello and welcome to Fernbank Science Center's The Sky This Week for November 7th through 13th, 2021. We have a first quarter moon toward the end of the week and a waxing crescent to watch Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday if you're interested in watching how the moon appears to move along its orbit as we see it from here on Earth. And we've got bright planets to help keep track. EarthSky.org shares this lovely diagram of the first few evenings this week. The moon has just come past its new phase and is just starting as a thin crescent moon visible to the southwest following the sun down. So if you can figure out where the sun set from wherever your observing spot is, face that direction, you'll be facing southwest. The bright planet Venus will appear like a tiny, really bright star, maybe about a third of the way up the sky. And depending which night you look, you might find a crescent moon on the 7th to the right of Venus. By the 8th, it's moved along its orbit and appears on the other side of Venus. Pretty to look for if the sky is clear. Keep an eye out for those early in the week. And on the 9th, everything looks like a lovely lineup toward the southwest again. Venus exaggerated in size on this image. Again, it's just a tiny, bright star-looking object. The moon, a little higher and toward Venus's left. Saturn, dimmer than the dot that is Jupiter, but both bright planets, particularly just as the sun is going down and the first of the evening is falling. Those are pretty easy to find toward the western part of the sky. Again, you need a good, clear sky, no clouds in the way. And you're looking from the horizon where Venus is, almost to the top of the sky for Jupiter. By the 10th, face the east, opposite where the sun went down, and some of the bright constellations of winter are just starting to become visible by 9 o'clock at night. Look by that little red E down there at the bottom. There are 3 stars that make a line sticking up from the horizon, the belt of Orion the Hunter. So our winter constellations are starting to be visible again. Look a little higher on the sky. There's a tiny pattern, sort of like a greater than sign or a sideways V with one bright big star at a corner. The face of Taurus the bull. The bright star's name is Aldebaran. It's a red giant star. Horns for the bull sticking off this way. Go a little higher on the sky and the Pleiades star cluster is visible. It looks like a tiny, tiny, tiny little dipper, a little sparkling net of stars. Add in some lines, you can see where we are. Orion down near the horizon with those 3 stars for his belt. A couple of shoulder stars on one side of the E, a couple of knees on the other side. The bright star Aldebaran for Taurus, the bull. A little higher, the Pleiades star cluster. Even higher still, Perseus. I looked at him for a few weeks ago. And the constellation Aries, one of the zodiac constellations, one of the very faint ones. Not easy to find that one, even in a good dark sky. By Thursday the 11th, the moon has moved along to its first quarter phase. The light is on the right, and the moon is waxing. So it's gotten fatter and fatter, or appeared to, over the last week. And by Thursday, it's at 1/2 the moon that we can see lit up. A lot of times people call this a half moon. It's a quarter because it's moved 1/4 of the way along its orbit. And technically that's at 7:45 a.m. The first quarter moon rises at noon. So we're not even going to see it at 7:45 a.m. In fact, you'll have to wait till afternoon and keep an eye over toward the eastern part of the sky. See if you can see it rising, and it should be high up in the sky just as the sun is setting. Finally, we're looking at the north part of the sky. Look toward the north. That's opposite the way we started off. And at 6 in the morning, it'll be easier to get up with the sky dark earlier in the morning. And keep an eye on where the Big Dipper is. 7 bright stars, pretty bright, large constellation. If you use your left hand measuring stick, hold your left arm straight out, make a fist with your left hand, lock your elbow, point your fist toward the north part of the sky, spread your fingers out as wide as they'll go, and they'll stretch all the way across from the tip of the Big Dipper tail to the lip of the Dipper bowl, pretty wide across the sky. These two, the pointer stars, point to Polaris, the North Star, very famous, not very bright. Probably know some people like that. And it's at the end of the handle of the Little Dipper, much smaller pattern, harder to find because the stars are not so bright. And it's kind of sideways on the sky at 6 o'clock in the morning these days. And stay tuned. Next week on November 19th, we get an eclipse of the moon. It'll be pretty late at night, and it will not be a total lunar eclipse, but it'll be pretty deep. If the weather is clear, it'll be particularly nice to watch the moon change from bright white to hopefully dark red as the eclipse moves along. And thanks as always for listening. We appreciate following Fernbank Science Center's website at www.fernbank.edu, keeping up on our Facebook page with our science programs and Friday evening at-home planetarium virtual programs. Have a wonderful week. See you next time.